All right, so today we're going to learn about lesson 10-3, transformations on the coordinate plane. You can go ahead and put that title down and today's date. And there are 3 examples: translations, reflections, and rotations. Another name for translations is sliding, so you're sliding an object across a graph. There's a reflection where you actually flip it, and there's a rotation where you actually turn it. So those are different names that are used sometimes. So translation, here we go. So we have a triangle ABC, and the points for that triangle are A is -3, 7, B is -1, 0, and C is 5, 5. And they want you to graph the triangle in the image, triangle ABC, after a translation of 4 units to the right and 5 units down. And you know, you can write this 4 units in the coordinate as 4, comma, and then 5 units down would be -5. And so they're going to show you that right now. And there it is. The ordered pair is 4, -5. So what you're going to do is you're going to add 4 to all the x's, and then you're going to add -5 to all of the y's. Okay? So you start with A, and you get -3, 7, and you end up with A prime, which is 1, 2. By adding 4 to -3, you get 1. By adding -5 to 7, you get 2. And so on. You do the same thing with the next vertex, the B, and also the C. And you have all those points, and then you add them together and you get 9, 0. So now that you have those points, you can graph the original ABC triangle, okay? And then you're going to graph what's called the ABC prime triangle, or the new triangle, okay? A prime, B prime, C prime. And you'll notice that you can check to see if your work is correct. Remember, it was 4 and 5, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 over, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. 4 over, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 down, and you end up C, and same with B, 4 over, 5 down. So you know you got the right answer. Okay, now it's your turn. Go ahead and write down this question, and you're going to have to either use graph paper or you can make graph paper in your notebook. But this one is going to be a translation or a slide of 3 units to the left and 2 units up. So you're going to subtract 3 from the x, and you're going to add 2 to the y. So go ahead and do that and see if you know what you're doing, and then I'll bring up the answer. And this is what it should look like, okay? So you'll know it went 3 units to the left, so your original is the yellow one. The D to D prime is 1, 2, 3, and 2 up. And you'll notice that all of them work that way. So you got that answer, you're well on your way to understanding translations. Next, example number 2. Now we're going to do a reflection. Remember, a reflection is over the y-axis, okay? The y-axis is going straight up and down, so it's going to reflect over that. And the key to doing reflections over the y-axis is all you have to do is multiply the x value of all of these coordinates by -1. And if you're going to do it over the x-axis, which is this way, flipping it from here to here, then you're going to multiply the y by -1. So that's an important rule to remember, and here it is to remind you. You multiply the x coordinate by -1 and use the same y coordinate. So -10 will be multiplied by -1, it'll become 10, and 3 stays the same. And so you'll see this here at work. Okay, -1 times -8 becomes 8, and then you keep the 6. 5 becomes -5, 2 becomes -2, and -10 becomes 10. Then you'll notice all of the y's, 6, 9, 1, and 3, are still the same. So when you're flipping it over the y-axis, okay, when you're flipping over the y-axis and you multiply the x by -1. If you flip over the x-axis, you multiply the y by -1. So it's really the opposite one you're multiplying by. Now, to graph that, this is what it would look like. Okay, here's your original, and then there's the new prime. Okay, so you'll notice that n has been reflected over the y-axis, and so has the O. Okay, the M and the P have reflected over here to the new one. And so you'll see that it basically reflects over the y-axis. Again, multiplying the x by -1 will make that happen. And here's your turn now. You can go ahead and write that down and multiply. You're doing it over the y-axis again, which tells you that you're going to multiply all of the x's by -1, and then you'll have the new coordinates that you'll just go ahead and plot. And you should end up with the answer that I'm about to bring up. But try it on your own and then have a look at the answer. And here's your answer. So that's what it should look like if you got the right answer. You'll notice that the Q's have reflected over the Y, the S's have the T's and the R's. Okay, the last example, we're going to be doing a rotation now. So we're going to be rotating the figure. All right, and this one is a rotation of 180 degrees. Now the rotation of 180 degrees, the thing that you do with this is you have to multiply both the X and the Y by -1. Now there is a rotation of 90 degrees and there's a rotation of 270 degrees or 360 degrees. And so what changes is what you multiply the X and the Y. But for 180 degrees, it's -1 and -1. You're going to multiply both of them by -1. It'll be a good idea to look in your textbook before the actual questions, and you'll see a little box telling you the page before your homework assignment how to rotate. What do I multiply by? That's going to be an important thing to look at in your textbook. So when we do this, we rotate the figure, multiply both of them by -1. So 180, multiply both by -1. So you got -4 and 5 becomes 4 and -5. So you notice that they're just the opposites because you've multiplied them by -1. You get all 5 points. Once you have that, you can have your original image, which is right over here, and it's going to rotate and it should end up over here. And this letter A should be down here somewhere because everything rotates. All right, and yes it is. Notice the A was here, now it's down here. Everything is rotated. The B has rotated here, the C has rotated 180 degrees. That's done in a rotation. Okay, and so now it's your turn, and they're asking you for a rotation of 180, so you're going to multiply both coordinates by -1. But remember, if you do a 90-degree rotation, it's going to be something different. Okay, and so you're going to have to look in the book to see that and find that. All right, and it's on the pages before the actual assignment. You should be able to find that. But if you write this down, put down all the vertices, okay? And you're going to basically multiplying both the X and the Y values by -1. So what's going to happen? You're going to get the opposite. So 2 becomes -2, -1 becomes 1. And once you do that, you can work it out, see if you get the right answers, and then you have to graph them. And this is what the graph looks like. The yellow being the original, and then the green being the rotation of 180 degrees. Again, 180 degrees, here's your C up here, and it's now down there. So if you see it rotate 180 degrees, you know you got the right answer. And that is the end of lesson 10.